It's the kind of play that speaks for itself. It's a play you might have saw on Twitter or Facebook or all around last night. GlenOak, a 7-3 winner over McKinley. Welcome inside the Saturday Morning Huddle, brought to you by Dan Brockers Import Automotive. We appreciate them supporting the show. We appreciate you for tuning in. Billy Beebe, Kenny Rhoda with you. Kenny, this is one of those shows that when I lay down last night, go to get some sleep, it's a little tough because I'm so excited to get at it this morning.
Yeah, the emotions are still there, right? You're kind of jacked up because of all the crazy plays and end results from last night's Week 9 game. And right out of the gate, your game, I've got to give my partner, Rick Worstell, state championship quarterback, 1981 McKinley Bulldogs. We do the Alt Care Stadium show together every week. And we were talking about Week 9, and we were going through our games. And when we got to the GlenOak McKinley game, Rick repeatedly said the 2 weeks coaches at McKinley hate are Week 9 and Week 11. Week 9 before you play Massillon, Week 11 the week after you play Massillon. And he said they better be careful or GlenOak could sting them. And sure enough, the Golden Eagles on that touchdown grab there late in the game beat McKinley by the final score of 7-3 as Burt hooks up on that touchdown pass to his tight end. And that capped off an 18-play, 82-yard drive, and they chewed up Billy. You were there 8.5 minutes? Is that right?
It was insane. It was insane. And here's the full drive. This is about when they were at the 50, and you can just see Kenny GlenOak chipping away, play after play. And the key here on this drive is look at the different guys getting the ball. Look at the different guys in the backfield. And look, I can't say this was a GlenOak domination. We're really reading into one drive at the end of the game that wins it for them. And it's this drive here, the quarterback carrying it, the fullback carrying it, both of the Burt brothers. Jamar Johnson gets a carry. I mean, this was an insane drive. And then, Kenny, I'll give credit to Frank Salona, our play-by-play guy. He said they've ran it so much, it wouldn't surprise me if they tried just a little bit of a jump pass to try and mix things up. And that's exactly what they did right here. Austin Morrison with the wide open catch there. You could see, I'll run the replay here. Avante Burt kind of sells that move off to the left, the handoff.
Yeah. You
had Morrison too run a double block. You can see him make contact. Then he heads to the end zone. So, I mean, what a play there. And what a way to lead into our first guest here. We'll get to head coach Scott Garcia joining us now. Looks like he's got some guests with him. Good morning, Coach. Can you hear us all right?
All good. How you guys doing?
We are good. We're good. Still got that smile on your face from last night?
No doubt. Nothing
Scotty,
better.
I was doing some research here, right? You take over for your second stint there. I think you were 3-7 2 years ago, right? Earlier this season, you get blown out by a combined score of 91-10. And then in Week 9, you're able to go from all of that to go into Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium and beat McKinley 7-3. How have you been able to turn this program around in such a short period of time?
You know what? It's just, hard work, with the kids, off season in the weight room. It's a process. You just can't do things overnight. You got to do it the right way. You got to do, put the work in to get the results that you want. And our kids kind of ground through, all that mess. And quite honestly, I'm sick of talking about it and hearing about what happened in the past. We've kind of put that behind us, and our kids are playing as hard as anybody.
All right, Coach, I broke it down a little bit. I'm sure you can do it better than me, of course. Walk us through this final play here. Or I'm sorry, it was not the final play, but the play that won it for you guys.
Yeah, it's just it's a counter pass, off our counter look that we ran the whole game. A receiver up top, Couture Ashcraft, he does a great job snapping that out. He was open. The fullback's open in the flat, and then our tight end, he's blocking down, and he's just kind of releasing, down there on the goal line. That play in the middle of the field, he actually wouldn't even go out, but down on the goal line, that's, he did it perfect, and Milk found him and got a big win.
Coach, is this one you save for a specific situation?
Oh, no question. No question. We ran that, early in the game, but we haven't shown that look on the goal line. all year. So yeah, it's one of those, 2-point play type situations. And, we were able to execute it.
Coach, you guys started 1-3. Now you're 5-4 heading into the final week of the season. Tough schedule to start early, but was there a game or even a play or a moment that stuck out to you that this season was headed in the right direction?
Yeah, actually the Fitch game, we started to play hard. We weren't executing, and we were making mistakes early in the season that cost us a couple games. But after that Massillon game, we kind of put that behind us, and our kids have played hard all year. And now it's just cleaning up some of the mistakes and starting to execute, and good things happen.
Scotty, I was looking at the entire schedule, right? Even your 2 losses after Fitch and Massillon, 10-7 to Lake and 31-28 to Green. Those were very winnable games there. It sounds like you didn't get discouraged from the losses, but yet you were encouraged by how hard they were playing and the fact that both of those were 1-score games, and you kind of had a feeling maybe this thing would turn around. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I wasn't discouraged. I wasn't real happy because I know what we're capable of. But yeah, there were some things that we did in both of those games that that we could build on, and we knew that, and our kids knew that, and it was just a matter of cleaning some things up.
All right, Coach, I see 2 special guests behind us. Who we got with us today?
So we have Avante Burt and Jalen McElroy.
Guys, good morning. How we doing?
How y'all doing? How we doing?
What was the locker room like after the win last night?
Man, it was exciting. Everybody was happy. Joy.
Exciting.
A lot of joy.
So going into this game, we know it's a big game, and I'm guilty, guys. I own up to it, right? We did our picks before the game. Rick Warstell, hey, Coach, you'll be happy to hear this. Rick Warstell on the Alt Care Stadium show yesterday said, don't sleep on GlenOak tonight because this is the game before Massillon. McKinley might be sleepwalking a little bit, and GlenOak's playing great football. So he thought you guys had a chance. I was like, well, I think they have a chance, but McKinley wants to win the Federal League outright. And so I picked McKinley, so I was wrong on this. How were you guys able to focus all week in practice, maybe as the underdog, and use that as fuel to come out and get a win, fellas?
We just went a week of practice with a chip on our shoulder. Told all the guys we got to play like 100% at all times.
Yeah, get locked in from start to finish because we knew since the whole McKinley, they all was focused on the Massillon game, and we knew it was gonna catch them sleeping, and we did it. Garcia was just preparing us all week. We knew it was gonna get them too.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I was on the sideline for this one. Felt very physical. I know there's some jawing back and forth, but I mean the hits were heavy. A lot of running the ball. Did you guys feel like this was a physical game?
Yeah, we had a lot of friendship out there. A lot of guys who played with us and switched over. A lot of guys we've been with our whole life. It was a very intense game.
Yeah, physical.
Coach, you love physicality. I know that from your first stint there at GlenOak. How did you get your team to buy into your philosophy, that physical style? Running the football is what you guys do best, but obviously it was a pass that won you the game, but that was set up because of the run. How'd you get them to buy in?
Yeah, it really is the biggest thing is committing to the weight room in the off season. And our guys did a great job with that. Avante here, pound for pound, is probably the strongest kid in the county. That's where it all starts. And then, we practice physical, we practice hard. Nothing's easy about it. And once you you go through that process, then, it's pretty simple.
All right, I'm going to ask all you guys real quick. Let's talk defense for a second. I always like to say if the offense isn't scoring, eventually the defense isn't going to hold up anymore. They're going to get tired. They're going to get sick of watching the offense not score. Last night, that was not the case. The defense held strong all night long. And I mean, really, Coach, if you consider it, they basically did pitch a shutout because the only score came off a pick. What was so great about the defense, and what do the guys think?
All week at practice, our defensive coordinator, Coach Cook, great defensive plan. All season he's been great defensive plans, and this game showed up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the defense was really just locked in. Even I told them like if we can't make it happen, we gonna need y'all this game, and they really stepped up and showed me that they can I can trust them. They had our backs on this one.
Yeah, we told our players it's gonna be a tense game. Ball's gonna be caught on you. Just gotta keep your head in. That's what we did.
Scotty, how'd you hold them to 28 yards in the second half and only 3 points for the game?
Just, great effort. The other thing was, the last drive was about 9 minutes long. It was an 18-play drive, and when, if they don't have the ball, they can't score. And, that was a big key too. We ran 9 minutes off the clock in that fourth quarter. Like the guys said here, Coach Cook did a great job with our defensive plan. We didn't blitz a whole lot. We spied the quarterback and just kind of, held ground on the edges because we know he likes to take off, and we did a good job boxing him in.
Coach, a lot happened in this one. Another key play here. McKinley was going to get a chance to get the ball. Your defense was going to have to head out there one more time. What did you see on this kick recovery?
Yeah, we saw where they were lined up, and our kicker put it right where we wanted him to. It was a perfect kick. It's kind of like a good little pitching wedge shot. Just put it down there, and the ball just kind of sat there, and our guys did a great job in coverage.
And he dropped it in the first quarter. The first quarter, he dropped it the first time, so we went at him again.
Oh, so look at that. The players realizing that. Coach, how nice is it to have players that see things almost through a coach's eyes, realize that, and extra hustle maybe gets the recovery on this play?
Yeah, these guys are both football smart. They're they both are guys I can trust. They'll come to me with suggestions during the game, and they're out there playing, so you listen to them.
Another pivotal point, Coach. You had a drive where the penalties were starting to stack up, and we know from you being on this show that that's not big for you. You're not a fan of those. How did you guys grind through it? Because I feel like at that point, you weren't on the board yet. You had a lot of penalties stacking up. How did the guys overcome that?
Basically, we told them to shut the hell up, close your mouth, and play football. So that was pretty simple.
There you go. And coming from Scotty in that tone of voice, I'm sure message was received as they're all laughing about it now. For all three of you guys, what does this win mean for GlenOak moving forward to week 10, as well as moving up, I'm sure maybe a home game now, possibly in the playoffs? What does this win mean, guys?
Just don't sleep on it.
And it really do mean a lot too, because we've really been looking forward to this win all year, preparing for it, and it's like we made history that day.
Coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a big program win. It's one of those that our guys put in the work, like I said, all in the off season through the summer, and it's nice to get a big one like this.
Congratulations, Coach and guys, and good luck next week and in the postseason. Job well done.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for having us.
There's a lot to break down in that one, Kenny, I will say. So definitely we got more guests coming up, but stay tuned with us. We'll break that one down a little bit more. We appreciate the guys jumping on. I'll say, too, I talked to Coach Garcia after the game. He was lit up. I mean, big smile on his face. Guys celebrating in the background. So that'll be a great interview to watch there. And obviously those are two difference makers for him joining him with us this morning. So great to have Coach Garcia and the guys on. And again, you got the game-winning touchdown. All those defensive highlights are extremely impressive. And then that kick recovery, it was great to get some insight on what happened there.
Yeah, now let's jump over to a team that needed a win and got a win last night. The Ring of Fire was burning as Fairless took care of Manchester 19-9, and AJ Sarbaugh, head coach, all-time winningest coach there at Fairless, joining us right now. Coach, thanks for getting up on the huddle with us. Congratulations on the win. How good did that one feel last night?
It was a great feeling. Really happy for our seniors and our kids. As you were there last week, and we've lost 4 games by a touchdown, and our seniors, captains like this guy, Gio Moore, have done a great job all year. They've stayed positive. They've practiced hard. They've battled, and to see them win, ring the victory bell, get to do Ring of Fire, like you said, that's why you coach, to see kids have success. So I'm just really happy for them that they got to experience that last night.
Yeah, Coach, multiple times this season we keep hearing Fairless is not, and then the record you guys have had this season, they're better than that. Other coaches are saying that. Has that kind of been your feeling this season?
Yeah, but at the same time, you are what your record says you are. Some years you get breaks, some years you make breaks, some years you have too many turnovers and penalties. And we've been in a lot of games. Things haven't gone our way, but we also haven't made enough plays at the same time to be a great football team. I think we're a good football team. I don't think we're bad, obviously by our record, but we haven't made plays when we've had opportunities to maybe make it a 2 or a 3 score game and separate ourselves. And then you give that other team hope. So we've only got ourselves to blame for that. But I know one thing, we're going to fight every week and play as hard as we can. That's all you can ask for.
Gio Moore joining us as well. And I'll throw this question to you, Gio. I was at the game last week. You had a nice game last week, but you come up short. How did you, as one of the leaders, maybe voice your displeasure or let your voice be heard during the week of practice to make sure that you guys were going to get a win this week against Manchester?
Yeah, so came Monday, and all our seniors and captains, we all talked to me, said we need to have great practice throughout a whole great week of practice. And we had a great week of good practice on Thursday before Kansas South. And I told them that we need to have a practice like that every single day this coming week. And it showed out on the field.
Practice-wise, Coach, what are the little things you guys can kind of mix up when the season isn't going your way?
We really don't mix anything up, to be honest. We just keep grinding and we practice how we practice. I think our kids like our routine. They know what to expect. I mean, we play music at practice, and I think our coaches stay positive and upbeat. Once we get to Monday, we have a meeting before practice and we recap the game because the JV kids are at JV, so I don't really get to talk to them about Saturday. We talk about the JV game and then we move on. That game's done. There's nothing to be said about it, so there's no sense getting upset about it at practice Monday. It's time to get better and back to the grind and work on who we're playing this week and work on that game plan. So I think that's a testament to our seniors, where once it hits Monday, we're done. We've moved on, and our practices have been good from that point going forward.
Gio, have you ever had a hat trick before? 3 touchdowns in one game?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's old hat for you then. Okay. Share with us what it's like. I mean, some kids don't score 3 touchdowns their entire high school career. You had 3 in one game and you've done it before. Is that part of the game plan and you have a shot at that, or is it just unfolding as the game is unfolding?
I'd say it's just when the game's unfolding. I think we have our plays that we want to run, but I mean, it doesn't always work out how we want it. But yeah.
Coach, I want to give you a chance here to highlight the senior group you have this year as one or possibly a couple, depending on how things shake out. But how special has this senior group been for you guys?
They're outstanding. I don't think I can say enough about them. I think as a whole, all 11 of them, they're the best group of leaders I've had. And I think that's why we won last night and why we played Canton South tough in these other games, because when you're 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, it's easy to mail it in and feel sorry for yourself. And guys like Gio Moore, Carson Colucci, Xavier Collier, Alan Harrison, Andy Gill, they weren't going to let the young guys do that. And obviously you guys have talked a lot about Brody Pumnio, Luke Yoder, Tom Fox, those guys that have played for 3 years. But these seniors were on scout team, or they were on special teams, or they were backups, and they were playing minimally, but they knew their role, and they were a huge part of those teams. We wouldn't have had the success without these guys doing their job. And now to see them in the limelight, obviously we haven't won as much as I wish we would have for them, but they've had great seasons individually. We've had some great games, win or lose, and seeing them have the success that they've had, that they've put all the hard work in, I'm really happy for them. And they've kept grinding. They haven't quit, and we've been in every game, and I think that's a testament to their character.
Coach, before the game, I was looking at the playoff rankings. You were on the outside looking in. I don't know how much this helps you and where you're at heading into week 10. Maybe you do. How do you approach it, knowing you have to have a win for sure in week 10 to have any chance of maybe making the playoffs this year?
Our assistant coaches all look at that stuff, Kenny. I look at the other regions. I don't look at ours. I'm going to wake up Saturday morning. I'm probably gonna go to breakfast with my wife and the kids because that's our time to relax. I'll watch Massillon McKinley and I'll find out if we're in, and I'll start figuring it out then. But Tuslaw is a 1-game season. That's what Coach Hurtler always taught us. We have a preseason, you have your non-league, you have your league games, and then for our case at Hoover, Jackson's a 1-game season. At Fairless, Tuslaw's a 1-game season. We know we're going to get Tuslaw's best effort. This is our seniors' last home game. That's guaranteed no matter what happens. It's a chance for these guys to go 4-0 and win the Blue Cup 5 years in a row, which hasn't happened since 93. Wow. So that's the stuff that matters to me. And if we get in week 11, we'll figure it out and we'll take care of it. We'll be prepared. But I'm just worried about Tuslaw right now. And that's what we told our kids this morning when they left film. That's the only thing that matters. Because like you said, if you don't beat Tuslaw, none of that stuff matters. And I just want to make sure our seniors win their last home game against their rival.
Coach, one more question before we let you go. I know you got a wedding today. Walk us through what the outfit's looking like. We got tie, no tie, jacket. What do you think?
I don't know. I know Connor is the ring bearer and Cece is the flower girl. My wife and me will have Collins. I'm not in the wedding because it's my sister. Dad got a suit, but I'll wear whatever my wife tells me to wear. I just want to be comfortable and stay dry out of the rain. So yeah, we're got a family of coaches. Adrian's getting married Saturday. We had a rehearsal dinner Thursday because Dad told her if you do it on Friday, no one's going to be there.
You know what? I love the Sarbaugh family because let's see, there was a child born during the season. Can't do that on a Friday. It's got to be a Thursday or Saturday. Check. Somebody's getting married. Can't do the rehearsal dinner on a Friday, Thursday or Wednesday. Check. I love that you guys have things in order and everybody understands, Coach.
Yeah. And it'll be fun tonight. A lot of the old Hoover football staff will be there. My sister teaches at East Camp, so Spider Miller said we're going to sit together and talk. So it'll be fun tonight. We're looking forward to it.
Hey, he's been up since 3:30 this morning already watching film, so he'll be raring to go, breaking his game down and your game down and who knows what else, AJ.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, guys, for coming on. Appreciate you, and finish the season strong. Good luck to Gio and the guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks for having us on. You guys are doing an awesome job with this show.
Thanks so much, Coach. We appreciate that. AJ Sarbaugh and the Fairless Falcons, we'll get to do that. They get a big win. The Ring of Fire was burning prominently last night at Fairless. And so good for them. And I haven't looked at Joe Itel's rankings. It's the one thing I didn't look at this morning, right,
Yeah.
Billy? We're preparing for this show, getting all the scores, stats of our teams that we cover. I didn't look at the projections. But yeah, if they don't win, then they have no shot of getting in the playoffs next week. And like he said, to go 5 years in a row winning the Blue Cup in that battle against Tuslaw, that's their McKinley Massillon, right? That's their rivalry. That's their Michigan, Ohio State. To do that 5 years in a row, pick up win number 4 on the year for these seniors, and maybe have a shot at the playoffs. That's the motivation for this weekend practice for Fairless.
I'd say so. You want to finish the season strong. That's a reason to win. You're still looking at playoffs. And again, for Fairless, record-wise, not what they wanted, Kenny, but I like throwing out there that other teams, other coaches, other players have so much admiration for what they still have going this season, right? They're still a very, very tough team to play and a very good team. And we know Stark County-wise, they're always relevant and in the mix. And that's been the case this season, despite the tough record.
And look at the other rivalry. We've got Hoover-Jackson this week. Big game, right, for both teams.
Sure.
You've got the Holy War, St. Thomas trying to end their however many game losing streak it is against Central, who got shut out last night by Jackson. So that's a big rivalry. Of course, McKinley. So there are more. We talk about McKinley Massillon McKinley as the greatest high school football rivalry, and arguably it is because of the history and the significance of 2 of the top 10 winningest programs of all time in high school football history. But don't sleep on the other schools. Their rivalry game means as much to them as that does to the Bulldogs and the Tigers.
I'd agree. There's still a lot of football left. I know our focus at WHBC is to cover everybody, right? So we have our eyes on all the teams and everything that's going on. Of course, Massillon McKinley gets a lot of our attention and local attention, but teams are still trying to finish strong. Teams have a lot going on here, like we talked about. We're talking about rankings. We're talking about playoffs. We're talking about college recruiting. We're talking about awards coming up with our banquet and things like that. So still a lot to be determined, not just, one rivalry or a couple playoff spots. We have a lot left to kind of check out here, Kenny.
No doubt. And why don't we throw our Old Carolina Barbecue Player of the Game from last night and our WHBC Player of the Week up right now, Billy. And that'll lead us into our next guest or couple of guests. Our game, Altman Hospital Game of the Week last night was at Central Catholic. And Jackson, a winner 20-0 over Central. And Anthony Fueline, wide receiver, defensive back, had the play of the night. He took a pass from Lucas Eckerman on the far right sideline at about the 50-yard line. And by the time he was done, he just snuck it in side the pylon on the far left sideline. And it was a heck of a run. He broke 2 tackles, faked 3 guys out of their jock straps and took it to the house. That grabbed him. That play really, I think, put the game away for Jackson with the way their defense was playing. And he was our Old Carolina Barbecue Player of the Game and WHBC Player of the Week. We could have given it to his quarterback, Lucas Eckerman, threw 2 touchdown passes, ran 1 in as well. It was a total team effort last night for Jackson. And so with that, let's bring in our next guest, and then he'll tell us who he's got with him. It's the head coach of the Jackson Polar Bears, Jay Rohr. Coach, thanks for joining us. Good morning. How you feeling today?
Appreciate you guys having us. We're doing well. Thank you.
And who do we have with us today?
Sorry, to my left here, I have quarterback Lucas Eckerman here. I don't know why I just decided to grab my guest and have him join me today.
Well, Coach, I think this is a guy we've been waiting to talk to. We talk about him, and now an opportunity to talk to Lucas. Lucas, one thing obviously that sticks out with you this year is a lot of progress throwing the ball, a lot more opportunities to throw the ball. Do want to ask, though, how much does it help you to have the weapons that you have?
It helps a lot because our receivers are good and they'll make plays if I just get the ball in their hands.
And, Coach, for you, last year you relied on Davide running the ball a lot, over 1,500 or 1,600 yards. And this year you've kind of flipped the script, looking at what you had, right, and adjusting to the weapons that you had. Was that a tough adjustment for you, or was it a no-brainer looking at Lucas and seeing the wide receivers he had to throw to?
Yeah, I think it was a no-brainer. Obviously, like I say, and I tell people a lot, we had an opportunity as a coaching staff to kind of go on a coach's retreat and look at, who we have coming back from a personnel standpoint. And then at that point in time, we really discussed where we want to go offensively and defensively, and knowing that Lucas was only a freshman last year and what he's going to bring to the table, and certainly with the skill positions that we have that are young and coming back as well, we just thought this is the best approach. And just like Lucas said, he's a dual threat quarterback, and certainly with the receivers that he has, getting the ball in those guys' hands and allowing them to make plays, it's going to set us up for success now, currently this year, and hopefully into the future.
And Lucas, we saw in that first touchdown there, kind of had to tuck the ball, hit the line, carry, push. What do you do to prepare to run the ball and take hits like that?
Just be tough. Coach Rohr always says, be tough and be physical.
And Coach, you mentioned he is a dual threat, right? He can throw it and he can run it. And to me, in standing on the sidelines yesterday, watching this game develop, his running ability helped set up the passes. You use the double pass and that pass to fuel line. So how key is that for you guys to get him, while it may not be 100 yards, but effectively run the ball to set everything else up?
Well, that's just it. When you got somebody back there, again, like Lucas, and we got, other guys that are great running backs too, that, it goes hand in hand, no matter how you look at it. Either you throw the ball to set up the run, or you run the ball a little bit to set up the pass. And we try to look at, each game based on that basis of how we think we can set it up. But, at any point in time that Lucas drops back, we know he has the ability. If he sees somebody open, he's going to let it rip. But at the same time, if he feels like guys are covered, he's going to tuck it and run. And again, up to this point, I couldn't be more proud of him. He's doing a tremendous job.
Coach Jay Rohr and quarterback Lucas Eckerman from Jackson joining us now. And Coach, might have heard Kenny mention Anthony Fuline, our player of the week last night, a tremendous day on offense. We know Anthony does a lot on defense too as a defensive back. How special has he been? We talked with you guys earlier in the season, but I mean, this has been a longevity this season for him. How special is Anthony?
Obviously he's a special player, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Again, I don't take away any credit from all the guys on our football team because they all work hard. But Anthony's the guy that really sticks out to me. I know his family exceptionally well, and just the time and effort that he put into the offseason. Like I said, he's out on, with the ability of running some routes on Mount Union's field, doing different things out there. And then the time and the effort that he put in with Lucas, our other receivers, into the offseason, while playing basketball. Again, just an exceptional player. And he's a we, not me guy. He wants the team to be successful. And he doesn't look at his numbers, but a guy that's playing exceptionally well on both sides of the ball. And as I said before, I couldn't be more proud of that young man.
Lucas, how important was getting starts and playing time last year as a freshman to allow you to do what you're doing this year as a sophomore?
I feel like it just made me more comfortable. And this year, I'm a lot more together with the team. Last year I was just thrown in and I didn't really know any of the players or anybody. So I'm a lot more comfortable this year.
And Coach, for you, real quick, Billy, for you, Coach, making that change last year, right? Looking to the future. And also it was better for your team last year as well, but knowing what this could mean for the future, have you seen, you planted that seed, you watered it a little bit. Are you seeing it grow?
Oh, there's no question. And, I know people look at that move from a year ago. Maybe that's the difference with me now being the head coach. The coaches when I played, gave me a shot as a young guy, believed in me and thought I had the ability to do well. And it's the same belief that I saw in Lucas last year. We were struggling a little bit, not a ton, but we were struggling. And just seeing what he's capable of doing. And then this year, you're exactly right. The progression that we've seen from last year to this year, just throwing him into the wolves. And like he just touched on, him getting, to know the players, obviously a lot better throughout the off season and building that camaraderie with those guys. He's done a tremendous job, and that's a hats off to him, our coaching staff, and certainly the players around him.
Lucas, last year you were number 36, I think was your number.
25.
That's it, 25. Were you eager to change to a quarterback number? And why did you pick number 3?
I actually had 25 until somebody quit with the number 3, and I got number 3.
Did you pick 3?
And what's the significance of 3?
No, I picked 25 first,
Uh-huh.
but then I got 3 because somebody quit.
Did you want 3?
No.
Oh,
It's the only thing available.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
Lucas
Take
still
what's
understands
available.
that he's still, even though he's our starting quarterback, he's still only a sophomore. So unfortunately, people have picks ahead of him.
do we have a number change
Okay.
coming?
I don't know, maybe.
In the
Hey, if it
future,
ain't
it's
broke,
coming.
don't fix it, man. You're doing well. What, it's 16 touchdown passes, 3 more on the ground, so you're closing in on 20 touchdowns overall, and doing a great job at quarterback. But Coach, last night your offense wasn't all that won you that game. Your defense was outstanding. I don't know when the last time Trucker was shut out like that at Central Catholic, and they've got some skill players over there. How was your defense able to do what you did, bend but not break, and come up with the shutout and the win?
Well, and I first will add to exactly what you just said, Kenny. Trucker's a tremendous coach. It's a well-disciplined football team, and they do have, a ton of athletes over there. I just think, again, the defensive staff, and just like all our coaches, they put a great game plan together, but they have a really aggressive mindset. They get after our players from a defensive standpoint and demand a lot out of them. And the one thing that they do demand too, on top of it, is 11 guys running to the football and playing together. And it's a very unselfish group. They believe in one another. They fight and play hard and physical for the guy next to them. And when you have 11 guys running to the ball relentlessly, you get the outcome that we were able to get last night against a great team.
Last question before we let you guys go here, Coach. Actually, I'll ask Lucas. Coach talked about he's a former player. I'm sure he still gets those juices flowing a little bit. Is there ever times during practice where Coach steps in a play and either carries the ball or kind of shows you guys how to run things and you see him break out that speed?
Yeah, there's a couple times. It looks like he almost pulls his hamstring, though.
Coach, as you get older, man, those things, be careful. Hey, I'm a lot older than you, but be careful. Those things, they may feel good, but they don't act the same way or recover the same way. So careful with, I know I see you on the side. You're fired up, man. So you still got that juice that you want to get out there and make a tackle. So God bless you for that. And hey, I have to ask, because last night, unfortunately, when we were doing the game on WHBC and Mix 94.1, number 65 kept making plays, and we didn't have a 65 on our roster. So who was number 65 last night, and how important was he in that defensive effort?
Well, that's just it. We looked at our personnel and we had to make some moves. So in order for him to play offensive line, we had to change his number. So Evan Mauser became 65 for us. So he's playing offensive guard and obviously defensive end or tackle for us. And he's a guy, again, that, again, at the beginning of the year, we're a one-way, or a two-platoon team. And we just had to make some moves. And now he's a two-way player for us. And he just has a motor. And again, another kid that, just has relentless effort. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
Well, guys, congrats and good luck the rest of the season. We know there's still a lot to play for you guys. Lucas, congrats on the success, and thanks for waking up with us.
Hey, I appreciate you, Kenny. I do want you to know, my daughter listened to our last interview, and she asked me, Dad, how can you not know what a Swiftie was? So I'm on the Swiftie bandwagon for you, Kenny. Got it. My daughter's got me going now. So
see that? Leave it to your daughter, right? That's the impact of Taylor Swift. It's everywhere in it, from the NFL to high school football to your daughter and everything. So, everybody seems to be a Swiftie these days. Lucas, are you a Swiftie? Let's ask the quarterback. Are you a Swiftie?
A couple songs.
Okay.
Everybody,
all right. See,
everybody.
yeah, there's a few that everybody likes. That's great. Hey, guys, have fun this week. Hoover Week. I know that's your rivalry game. So best of luck to you this week, and enjoy that and continued success.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having us.
All right. Love that. How about that? There she is. The Taylor Swift factor. Again, I told JT I'd stop talking, but I can't. It's everywhere. Right? I mean, high school football, NFL, entertainment, the news, CNN, you name it, she's everywhere. And even now on the Saturday morning huddle, that's a first.
Well, I know we're going to catch Coach at the movies now with popcorn, seeing the Taylor Swift movie that just came out, I'm sure. And then we'll see Lucas change to number 65 next year, maybe. What do you think about that, Kenny?
Hey, I don't know what the rules are on what a quarterback can and can't wear, but 25-3 and who knows what else, right? We'll see how that plays out. But good win for them last night. We were wondering, we actually thought it was going to be a higher scoring game, and their defense really did a number on Central Catholic as they Central had opportunities. I think they were in Jackson territory 4 or 5 times and just couldn't get that big play. Now, in fairness to, and I want to make sure I give him some love here, Brennan Betts, his receivers, we stopped counting at 6 drop passes yesterday for Central, okay? One of them was in the end zone, should have been a touchdown. There were other, and it was a plethora of guys who did it. It wasn't just one guy. So for whatever reason, maybe it was Jackson's defense, their pressure, their physicality, they were just off yesterday, Central, in the offense. And, Jay Rohr, they were on a 3-game losing streak. They needed a win. They went on the road and got the victory. Eckerman with 2 touchdown passes, 1 on the ground. Fuel Line had a big game. They picked off 3 more passes. Their secondary is as good as anybody's in Stark County this year. So that was a much needed and a good win for Jackson. And for Central, Billy, that's D6 versus D1. I know they don't look at it, right? and Trucker will play anybody, anywhere, anytime. But there is a difference there, right? When you're a D6 school, a smaller school, and you're playing a D1 school like that, they're usually bigger, faster, and they have more players. And maybe that was a factor in the game yesterday as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you mentioned with Jay Rohr, Kenny, he wants to step on the field and make a tackle. I can't imagine Trucker didn't want to get out there at receiver, run a little spread, and just get him a slant over the middle, make sure he reels it in, and kind of goes from there. But I will say, despite Canton Central having a tough night, obviously scoring and losing that one, they celebrated a little bit at halftime there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, they did. And it was a tribute to, they've won 3 state championships, 88, 2016. Okay. And last night was the 35th anniversary of the 1988 Division IV state championship team there at Central Catholic. And in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, he's got the green jacket and the hat on. That's Lowell Kleinfelder. He was the coach. I think Lowell turns 80 in April from what Trucker Lindesmith told me yesterday. And he was there with some of the players from that 88 state championship team. They honored them at halftime. And a little later on in the show, we'll hear from Lowell Kleinfelder about coming back for the reunion and why this team was so special. It was their first of 3 state championships there at Central. And Jeff Lindesmith was an assistant coach on that team as well. So Trucker's been there for all 3 state championships. So it was a bright spot last night when there wasn't a lot of things to smile about if you were a Central fan.
No doubt about that. A bright spot locally, though. Marlington, another big win last night. It's hard not to pay attention to them every week, Kenny, because you're seeing the wins stack up. 1 win a year ago, now up to 6 this season. So very impressive for Marlington. And that'll bring us to our next guest, tight end and outside linebacker and punter for the Marlington Dukes, Drew Simmons, joining us. Drew, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How about you?
We're good. We're glad
great
to have you on, man.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
On the win, Drew. Joe Cardinal in his first year. Let's start with your great. Let's start with your head coach. And what has he brought to the program to where you've gone from 1 win to 6, and you still have at least 1 more game to play?
He's brought a whole different energy from this year to last year. You know, last year, just the energy was low, wasn't very positive. Just people were always getting down on themselves. And each week, win or loss, Coach Cardinal, he always brings a positive attitude and just boosts our confidence. And he says that we always have a chance to win every week, and we go out there and give it our all for him.
How is the locker room different, Drew? How is practices different now that you guys are stacking up wins?
It's a lot better. You know, last year, if you're in week 9, nobody wants to be there. Nobody's having fun. This year, you're having fun at practice. You're listening to music. You want to be there. You want to be there with your friends, and you actually enjoy being at practice.
So last night, Marlington gets a win over Salem, 37-20. And we put the numbers up there at the bottom of the screen: 8 tackles, a sack, 3 quarterback hits. You're punting the ball well this season. What was the key? Let's start with the defense and your side of the ball there, Drew. What was the key on defense last night to beating Salem?
We were just really prepared before the game. Coach Zade, he always has a good scouting report. We were flying all over the field. Our D-line was always in the backfield, and it allowed our linebackers to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage the whole time. And we were getting pressure on the quarterback all game, so it's hard for them to pass the ball, and our corners did a good job as well.
Drew, I always hear coaches come on here and say, we have to be great in all 3 phases of the game. That's the only way to win, all 3 phases of the game. Well, you're involved in all 3 phases, offense, defense, and special teams. What are you enjoying most?
I enjoy defense the most for sure, but I always have fun going out there punting. Obviously, you don't want to go and punt, but, you know, I go out there and do my job, let the ball fly, don't really think about it. But I just like having fun out there on defense and flying around.
On offense, you're a tight end. Now, are you, are you Cade Stover? Are they looking to get you the ball on a regular basis, or are you more of a blocking tight end or a mixture of both?
I'm more of a blocking tight end. You know, I'm out there. I might be running some routes sometimes, but I'm more just a decoy, just out there getting blocks, setting up the run.
Drew, have you gotten to run a fake punt and pass or a punt and keep yet? And if not, are you ready?
Not yet. We have talked about it in practice. You know, I got the arm to throw it if we have to, but we still haven't got there yet. So there might be something in there next week. You never know.
6-3 now on the year for Marlington, and the playoffs, the computer rankings. I think you guys were just on the outside looking in, even with that 6-3 mark. So, how important is it to have a shot at the playoffs to finish this thing strong next week in the regular season to give yourself a shot at the playoffs?
You know, this is really important game next week. You know, we haven't been in this situation in a few years where we have a meaningful game in week 10. So this is basically a playoff game for us next week. And we have to win to make the playoffs, because if we don't, there's probably no chance that we're going to make it.
That's the feeling for a lot of teams, Drew. It's been exciting to watch Marlington play so well this year. We're wishing you guys luck. Strong finish here, looking at the playoffs. Thanks for jumping on with us, and tell all the guys here at WHBC we've been paying attention and watching you guys a bunch.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Good luck against Alliance next week, Drew. There you go, Drew Simmons. They're going to have to play a heck of a game. Alliance yesterday, they bounced back. Even they've had a disappointing season at 4-4, but Alliance, what was their final score yesterday? I have it here somewhere. They racked up a ton of points. 61.
There you go.
61-0 over Minerva. I think 28 losses in a row now for Minerva, but Alliance, they're going to have their hands full with, Zerbrug from Alliance. But hey, that's a three-way player. We hear two-way players. That's a three-way player right there. Tight end, outside linebacker, and punter. And hey, one thing we've spent a lot of time, and I'll ask you about your games, Billy. One thing we've spent a lot of time talking about, Dan Belford, Mark Miller, Denny Kincaid, yours truly on the Altman Hospital Games of the Week, is the hidden yardage. And what I mean by that is when kids don't fair catch the punt, that ball hits and rolls another 10, 15, 20 yards, and instead of getting it at the 30, you're at the 10. Instead of getting it at the 20, you're inside the 5. Have you seen that a lot this year too, where kids, I don't know if they're afraid to catch it because they're deep in their own territory or there's traffic around them, but the teams are losing a lot of yards by not fair catching the ball this year?
Yeah, I would agree. Last night was a sloppy game, but just a good example of what you're talking about, Kenny. I believe it's Avante that's returning punts for GlenOak. And like you said, he's tracking the ball, then stepping away. It bounces. Well, it bounces another 10 yards. And then he's still kind of floating around it like there's something to do. And that's dangerous to me too, because if you're floating around it and you have no intention of picking up, the only thing you can do is accidentally touch it. And I will say what I noticed, and I was on the McKinley side, so their coaches got after them a little bit about this. I don't know if these guys, maybe they're just not out there all the time, but they seem so eager to touch it and grab it and pick it up. And the coach yelling, that's got another 3 yards to roll. Why are you touching it? Don't touch it. So we talk about special teams all the time. Very important. And that's a good note from you and Mark to talk about fair catches and when to pick the ball up.
It changes your play call as a coach, right? If your heels are on the goal line, you've got to be extremely careful with the football. Do you go under center instead of shotgun, right? Whereas if you're out at the 15 or the 20, hey, you've got your entire playbook that you can go to and use right there. So I think next week, rivalry week in all these games with the different, that's a rival. Alliance Marlington, that's a big game for them. We mentioned Holy War, Central and St. Thomas, Massillon McKinley, Hoover, and Jackson off the top of my head. Those hidden yards like that don't really show up in the box score can be the difference between winning and losing a game because 15 yards more on a fair catch, that's less you have to go to set up that winning field goal possibly, or that game-winning drive like GlenOak had yesterday where they went 82 yards in almost 9 minutes to get the win over McKinley.
I would agree. And if somebody asked me or probably Antonio Hall or other coaches or fans what happened last night, McKinley didn't do the little things. They didn't do the little things that stack up and add up, and teams have to do it. We keep mentioning it and showing this game-winning touchdown here, Kenny, for GlenOak. Again, Austin Morrison, he makes the touchdown catch, But again, he makes 2 blocks before he fades off. Now, if he decides I need to get to the end zone, I want to catch a touchdown and doesn't make those blocks, either A, maybe he's not blocking for his quarterback, or B, he's not selling the idea that he's a blocker and not a receiver on that play. So especially late in the year, the little things are going to matter.
Run that play again, because I want to go back to what Scott Garcia told us earlier here in the Saturday morning huddle, and he pointed it out to us. There were actually at least 2 guys open, if not 3 guys. The fullback underneath, he's open at the goal line, right? Morrison in the middle of the field. And to the corner, maybe not, more of a decoy to draw that defender away to open up the middle of the field. But, Burt had 2 options really in my mind looking at this. Look, run it one more time. I want to count the defenders chasing him because he's a threat to run, right? So look at that. 1, 2, 4 guys were going after Burt. The corner wide receiver, right? He takes that defender away from him, and there's the hole right in the middle. And it could have went to the tight end or the fullback in that situation. One more time. Run that one more time, Billy, because I want to see this, because I want to give some credit to the guys up front, too. What a great job by the offensive line in selling this and doing their job, buying just enough time. And that's a gutsy call, man, when you didn't have a lot of success all game long on offense, to be able to put together a drive like that and a play like this to win the game. Fantastic for GlenOak. And they're as excited as GlenOak was. I think there was another coach and players who were just as excited, Billy, for that to happen last night. And that's the Lake Blue Streaks, because now Lake has an opportunity with a win in Week 10 to get a share of the Federal League title for the 2nd consecutive year. And joining us right now is the head coach of the Blue Streaks, Dan DeGeorge. They got a win last night to keep their hopes alive, beating Perry 37-14. Good morning, Coach. How are you this Saturday morning?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Hey, we're great. And let's start right there, though, and we're going to get to your game in a second. But how exciting is it for your team now, your players, to wake up here on Saturday morning knowing if you can get a win in Week 10 for the 2nd consecutive year, you'll have at least a share of the Federal League title?
Yeah, very exciting. Started off with a really good game by our kids last night. We got wind of the GlenOak score with a couple minutes left in our game. The kids saw it on the scoreboard, so they were super excited about that. I feel like I need to send Coach Garcia some flowers and his staff something for that great win last night. But, yeah, we're looking forward to it. Great opportunity, but at the end of the day, it's another Federal League game. We got to go 1-0. Green's a very good team, very well-coached team. So we just have to keep trying to find ways to get better and hopefully find a way to get a win.
Coach, we've discussed it a lot, and the players that we had on talked about it. Teams get caught up in looking at next week or looking at the playoffs or looking at, past a team with a bad record. How do you keep your guys focused when, maybe they're thinking about playoffs or the Federal League title or something that's really not in front of them yet?
Sure, and that's a difficult thing to do. They're high school kids. God bless them, and especially with today's day and age with social media and all the technology, you just have to find ways to them just to think about going 1-0. We constantly say that no matter what happened the week prior, put ourselves in a position to win a football game, and that's true this week. If we find a way to win, a lot of really good things come from it. Obviously the Federal League piece, but then just maybe some home playoff games as well. So it is an important week. We're not going to deny that fact, but finding ways to get better is all we can really control.
Dan DeGeorge, our guest, Lake a winner last night over Perry, 37-14. Fell behind early, Coach, but then your kids responded as they have all season long. It seems like, after both of your losses, they came back, responded well. You get down early. What was the message? I'm guessing no panic, but what was the message getting down early?
Yeah, just we knew Perry plays tough physical football, so we had to be ready from the get-go. I give them credit. They went down and scored on us the first drive of the game. They completed some 4th down conversions. They ran a fake punt successfully and jumped out on us. And our kids we constantly talk to them just about handling adversity and how to respond to adversity. And they did that really well last night. We were down 7-0. We scored. We then played really good defense. We also cleaned up our special teams last night as well. So it was by far our most complete game of the year to date, but still a lot of room for improvement, and hopefully we'll work on that this week.
Coach, even after a win last week, you had kind of mentioned you wanted a little more from your offense. Did you feel like you got it last night?
Yes, we did. We threw the ball around a little bit more. Nate Baker had a Nate Baker night. Kid's a ball player. We did a little bit better job up front. We're consistently getting a little bit better offensive line-wise each week, so I'm proud of that. But we were able to throw the ball around at times, completed some tough fourth down conversions, throwing the ball. Also took a couple shots deep, completed some of those. So it makes us harder to defend, obviously, when we can throw it around a little bit. So we're going to continue to need to do that. But we still have a long way to go offensively. Green's going to be a tough defense for us this week.
Coach, let's spend a little bit more time talking about Nate Baker, the touchdown maker. He seems to make plays for you, running the ball, catching the ball, defending the ball, does punt return. It doesn't matter. He does a little bit of everything. Is he, if not the most complete all-around player you've had? Is he in your top 5, and why is he so good?
Yeah, he's definitely at the top of the list. We've had some real special players at Lake in my time, but just his ability to do so many things makes him very, very special. Again, he was a 2-year starter for us at wide receiver as a sophomore and junior. Very, very hard to guard. Also played corner for us the past 2 years. After week 1 this year, I finally made the decision to let's move him to tailback and get the ball in his hands as many times as we can. Probably should have done that sooner, so I'll take that one. But last night he lined up at quarterback, he lined up at tailback, he lined up at slot, he lined up at split end for us. Also played corner, returns punts, returns kickoffs. He just wants to win, man. So you appreciate kids like that, and then when he's athletically gifted as he is, that makes it even more special.
All right, Coach, take us behind the scenes a little bit here. I've noticed you got some great swag, your hoodies, your pullovers, your hats, all that stuff. How do you decide what you're wearing? Do you have a favorite? Do you go hat, no hat? Walk us through maybe your game day fit.
Yeah, I don't spend too much time worrying about that. A lot of times it's just whatever I pull out of the closet in the morning when it's dark. I always wear a hat as well when I'm coaching. So we have a great store right by our place, Beatty Sports, which is across the street from our stadium. He takes really good care of me, and we get a lot of our stuff there. So I appreciate that. But if I were ever to lose my job or get fired, I'd have to get a whole new wardrobe because all I own is stuff with Lake and blue stuff.
Coach, it looks good though. Billy's right. Each week, I'm noticing that too. You're more stylish than Bill Belichick. So there's a compliment in comparing you and Bill Belichick in the same sentence. How's that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that one, Kenny.
I said your wardrobe, you're more stylish than Bill Belichick. All right. So from that standpoint, I've just mentioned Dan DeGeorge and Bill Belichick in the same sentence. So take that for what it's worth. All right.
Well, I appreciate that, but he's obviously a way better coach. And in all honesty, I could care less how I look, man. Just love going to work every day.
Love to hear it, Coach, and we love watching you guys this season. Bigger things ahead and a chance at the Federal League title next week. So good luck to you guys, and thanks for jumping on with us on Saturdays.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for what you do. Rock 'em.
There he is. They've got, hey, that's a tough task ahead of them. Green put 41 up on Hoover, and Green trailed for most of that game last night and kept coming back, and they beat Hoover last night 41-34. Remember, a couple of years ago, Billy, Green made it to the Final Four. So this is a program that knows how to win football games, and that they've got to go on the road. Blake does, right? Yeah, they have a great defense, one of the better defenses. I would say Massillon 1, Lake and McKinley 2-3, right in there. But that they're going to have their hands full. Zach Baglio with 4 touchdowns last night. Antonio Martin with 2 more for Green in putting up 41 points. And how about this, Dre? Let me find my papers, Billy. I have it here somewhere. This is what happened in that Green Hoover game yesterday, okay? I got this from the paper. After a 7-7 first quarter, the teams accounted for 4 touchdowns in 35 seconds. You heard me right. 4 touchdowns in 35 seconds, okay? Here's what happened. It's tied 7-7. 7 seconds into the second quarter, Zach Brocker's 39-yard touchdown run put Hoover ahead 14-7. Zach Baglia answered with a 79-yard kickoff return for Green, cutting the deficit to 14-3. On the first play after Green's kickoff, Mason Ashby took off for a 66-yard touchdown run for Hoover to put Hoover up 20-13. On the ensuing kickoff, Antonio Martin returned at 77 yards for a touchdown. So there's your 4 touchdowns in a span of 35 seconds. And that's what, Green can do to you. They are that explosive. And now they're going to be going up against a better defense. No offense, Hoover, but Lake's a better defense. So we'll see if they can continue to do that. But that's the threat that they possess. And that's why they're going to have to play their best football game of the year, Lake, if they want to get a share of the Federal League title.
And for Green, Kenny, I can't remember the name of the quarterback they had last year, but you recall they were letting him throw 50-plus times. He was getting to the 60s. And with Green, even if they're not executing, that is such a different offense to play, especially for a Perry, who we've seen struggle in the secondary, for other schools who get into games like yesterday with GlenOak and McKinley, where it's just a slobber knocker game. It's all running. It's all physical play. And then the next week, and we saw McKinley struggle with Green despite winning, the next week, they're airing it out 40, 50 times, different weapons. A lot of the times those receivers are all, equal in talent level. It's just about who's getting the ball tonight. That was an exciting win. That was a staple win. Again, one more time, I want to hit on GlenOak. That was a big win for them, Kenny. That was like their coming out party almost a little bit, that they're back and look what they built, look what they've got. I want to play my interview real quick with Coach Garcia, and it really was incredible to see the smile on his face as that game finished out and the people around him. So take a look at this.
I'm here with Coach Garcia and some very animated players. Coach, congrats on the win. Your instant reaction.
Yeah, it was awesome. We just grounded out the old school style. Our offensive line, our backs, our quarterbacks, they all ran hard, and we played incredible defense tonight.
A little bit of struggle on offense throughout the game, but your defense held in there.
Yeah, they did. They grounded out, and defense won it for us tonight.
This has been an up and down season for you guys. Do you feel like this is a peak moment for you?
Oh, no question. We knew what we're capable of, and our kids ground through a lot this year. I'm so proud of them.
What do you think was the best moment for you from today?
Right now.
Love you. Thank you, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
Right now.
You, Billy. That's it. Talking to Billy Beebe. That's the best moment right there. But hey, that's a maybe a program changing win for them, right? You heard the kids that we had on earlier with Coach Garcia say, hey, there were some friends of ours over there that left, right? That left GlenOak to go over there. Well, a win like this and getting into the playoffs and maybe getting a win in the playoffs keeps those kids at GlenOak possibly, right? Instead of transferring somewhere else. So that's the kind of an impact I think that win can have maybe for Scott Garcia and the Golden Eagles.
And that was a storyline that we talked about. These kids are so close to each other. They'd grown up playing Pee-wee. We saw them jawing a little bit at the 7-on-7s during the summer.
Right.
And of course, when this thing actually started, we had Anthony French and the O-line on earlier in the season, Kenny. I have never seen an O-lineman talk so much during a game. It was tremendous. And you heard me mention to Coach Garcia the drive where they had all the penalties. And he said it wasn't like procedure or, where you're put. It was just they couldn't shut up. It was so funny to watch every single play, the O-line talking, the running backs talking, the quarterbacks talking. McKinley gets a penalty. GlenOak gets a penalty. Run a play. Penalty every single time. So it was a crazy one. And I will say, you look at that video there with Coach Garcia. If you have not watched yet, that is a little insight into our YouTube game of the week. That's a post-game interview. That's the graphics we have going. That's the replays we have going. All these highlights I show, a little look at the McKinley. This is what you're going to see live when you tune into these games. So Hoover and Jackson, I believe, is our YouTube game Friday. And then McKinley Massillon, of course, will be live on the YouTube as well as the radio Saturday. So again, if you haven't checked out the YouTube games, go back and watch. This is what you're getting to look at.
And for those of you out there that don't know how to do it, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's real simple. You go to youtube.com, you type in either WHBC or the Saturday Morning Huddle, because you can watch us live on YouTube as well. And that you can watch it live when the games are live. We're live every Saturday morning, or you can go on demand and watch it anytime you want to. You can pull it up and enjoy the coverage that we're providing for you on radio, on the audio stream, and also on our YouTube channel for your viewership. So we're trying to go down all the different avenues of social media this year, and we hope you're enjoying our coverage here on WHBC in year number 79 of high school football. Hey, let's give some love, Billy, to our sponsor, because we couldn't do the Saturday Morning Huddle without our title sponsor, and we are driven by Dan Brocker's Import Automotive. And thank you for coming on board with us and being a part of what we do here, providing this high school football coverage to everybody out there. We really appreciate it, and we know how important high school football is in Stark County, and that's why we've expanded our coverage. So thank you to Dan Brocker's Import Automotive for their sponsorship. They've been serving the automotive needs of import, exotic, and domestic car owners since 1946. They're located at 4900 Altman Road, Suite 106 in North Canton. Trusted and respected for over 70 years. Dan Brocker's Import Automotive is family owned and operated, and you can check them out right now if you want to online at brockersimport.com, or you can give them a call at 330-966-3923. That's Dan Brocker's Import Automotive. So thank you so much for being a part of what we do here with high school football on WHBC. Billy, we mentioned it earlier. Central, a loser last night to Jackson at home, 20-0. At halftime, they had a reunion, and they honored their 1988 state championship team. Lowell Kleinfelder was the coach. The field's named after him, and he was at the game. He'll turn 80 in April, according to Trucker. And I had a chance to catch up with Coach Kleinfelder during that halftime celebration to talk about 1988 and how special that year was.
Coach, what was so special about this 88 team as you guys celebrate this 35th anniversary?
Well, what was special about it was a group of guys that they were so special. They worked hard. They had a vision what they wanted, and they got it. I'm just proud to be. I was the one, I guess, just the catalyst maybe that helped them along. When you have character like they had, and like a lot of teams that we've had here at Central, one thing nice about coaching at Central Catholic, you get to coach a lot of great people, and this team here was full of great people. And not only were they worked hard, some of them might not have been the best athletes, but they were great people and they were great workers, and that's what made this team special.
And how special is this night? Here you are 35 years later getting all these guys to come back and celebrate what you achieved.
Oh, I tell you, it's super. We met and we're going to meet again afterwards. It's so great. The only thing I worry about is, if I haven't seen some of them for 20 years, I worry about if I'll recognize them. But I really done well. I'm really proud of myself that I did well. I remember, usually I can see who they are if they talk to me a little bit, then I can figure it out. But it's been a great night for me. A lot of great memories. I had a lot of great memories in this stadium. This is a great institution, Central Catholic High School. I love this school, and I love what it stands for. And as I just said, I'm just glad to be part of its history.
Congratulations. Good to see you again, Coach, and enjoy the second half and enjoy the after party.
All right. Thank you.
There was an after party, I guess. So those guys were getting together, and they were talking it up, reliving some old memories. I think one of the players, throw the picture up one more time, Billy. one of the players, I'm not sure who it is, but you'll see him there. He doesn't have a numbered uniform on. He has a green shirt I think he wore under his pads back in 1988. And he still had that. And I have those T-shirts and long sleeve shirts that are my favorite. Sure. Some have holes in them and everything like that. I keep them. But to keep that shirt and to wear it on the 35th anniversary of the 88 state championship team, and you can see it's got a hole on the right shoulder. He's got the sleeves cut off in that sucker. That was great to see those guys, and Lowell Kleinfelders there up in the upper right-hand corner of that group photo. So it was kind of cool to see them get together and hear them talking about that 88 season for Central.
Well, you mentioned the throwbacks. I was going to say McKinley had them too. I love looking in the stands, and there's just people with it looks like 03, 99 type of vibe to the jersey. You don't know what year it is, but you can tell it was worn. You can tell it, it's not just a newly produced thing. So you love the community support, right? And I know Massillon and McKinley, those jerseys are going to be flying, and they'll be all around at Tom Benson on Saturday. So again, we'll plug that. I want to plug real quick, Kenny, food fights going on. Okay.
Yep.
I will have an interview up on our YouTube that I did with Stephanie Sweeney of the Stark County Hunger Task Force. If you know food fight, then you know how this works. You know what's at stake. You know what we're doing here. If you don't, it's Massillon McKinley rivalry, and you can donate money. You can donate food. You can do it by texting. You can do it by bringing food to all the different locations. You can't miss these locations. But despite the rivalry, this is feeding Stark County. This goes to the Stark County Hunger Task Force, right? So that's the reason we're doing this. That's where this food goes. This is going to packing after-school food for kids in their backpacks. This is going to families that need to come in and get fresh produce and bread and things like that. So I know some people, they like donating the cans and the cereal and all that stuff. And then if you go to WHBC.com, click on the food fight, it's right there on the front page. You can text McKinley to this phone number and how much money you want to donate, and you're done. So this is a great cause. This will be going on, I believe, until Friday. You can donate. That'll be our final day of fundraising. So we appreciate everybody who's taken part in the past. We're excited to do that again.
Hey, let's throw some of our comments out here. People watching us on the Saturday morning huddle. Congratulations going out to Scott Garcia and the GlenOak Golden Eagles for their upset win 7-3 over McKinley last night at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. That was our YouTube game of the week. So go watch that right now on our YouTube channel at WHBC. Huge win. And you heard Dan DeGeorge say, I don't think Scott, I think Scotty would prefer something other than flowers if Dan was going to send him something. And I'll just leave it at that if he wants to make him feel good about that. So, but yeah, huge win last night for GlenOak, and it's already started. There it is, TIGERS, the rivalry week, and Randall J. Chapman's feeling good about his Tigers starting that chant, and he's already made his prediction. 49-14, he says. The Tigers are going to beat McKinley next week at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. And hey, let's give some credit to the Massillon Tigers. We haven't gone through all the score. We've had them on the bottom of the screen, Billy, but we haven't gone through all of them. They did not have a problem looking ahead to McKinley as they routed Warren Harding 48-14 last night, Billy. So they were focused. And as we take a look at some of the highlights from around the area, congratulations to Massillon. They're my number one ranked team in Ken's top 10. They're 9-0 after that 48-14 win. Emmy Lewis Jr. returned the opening kickoff, 92 yards from Massillon, and that set the tone for their win. DeJuan Owens, 277 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Jaquez Carter caught 5 balls for 139 yards and 2 scores. And so Massillon's D, they held Warren Harding to minus 26 yards rushing. They've got a 7-game win streak against their rival McKinley. They'll try and make it 8 in a row on Saturday at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. 2 o'clock kickoff on WHBC, and that'll be live on our YouTube channel. So kudos to Massillon. No problems, keeping their focus and beating Warren Harding last night. Other games from around the area, we're watching some highlights right here. Double pass from Jackson. That was, I think, Eckerment to Benson to Fuel Line on the double pass. And then this touchdown grab is Kyle Benson's 12-yard touchdown catch and run as Jackson beats Central 20-0. Anthony Fuel Line, our player of the game, and he gets a $25 gift card from Old Carolina Barbecue, and also our WHBC Sports Player of the Week. We mentioned GlenOak beat McKinley 7-3. Austin Morrison with the 3-yard touchdown catch from Adrian Milkbert. Northwest, a tough loss last night to Triway, 31-26. Carson Nicky had a heck of a game for Northwest in a losing effort. 2 touchdown catches and a pick-6 touchdown as well. Tyler Pappas with 2 touchdown passes. That was our WHBC streaming game. And Billy, if you can put the food up. Northwest, they're waiting for us this Friday night with the radio crew, but they took care of our streaming crew last night. And you can see right there the food that they provided for Bill Morgan and Derek Philo from Table 6. They hooked the guys up. Maple pecan bacon, glazed Brussels sprouts. Let's see here. Blackberry goat cheese salad, loaded mac and cheese, and cheeseburger sliders last night is what they ate. You missed the Northwest game this year because you had a wedding and you missed food. Now, I'm sure you had good food at the wedding, but Billy, this is why they're number one. And we're going to see next Friday night if they, keep the standard up there to knock off Perry, who's currently number one in our standings on Friday night where we've got Northwest. And then Saturday, we'll see if McKinley then takes another shot at it with the McKinley Massillon game. And so the food fight challenge, we've got 2 different kinds, right? We want you to donate whatever you can and help the needy out there. But we've been having fun all season long with the Press Box Food Fight Challenge as well. And thanks to all the schools who have participated in it, Billy.
Yeah, crazy this year. Again, I did miss a couple outstanding and number 1 ranked meals, but I've eaten well. I got no complaints. I still had a great meal at Perry. I will tell you, Kenny, I will never, ever sleep on the pizza rolls at Lake. All right. I know that, you're getting just the pizza rolls, but they're good. There's always plenty. That's another big thing. Can I have 2? There's always plenty. And there's about 3 boxes of them. They keep a stocked fridge. So, I take a smile in even those simple little things when you feed us.
Yeah, well, we weren't fed last night. We were told we were invited to an after party that we didn't get an official invite to, so we'll leave it at that. So Perry's right now at the top of the list. Northwest with a shot to knock them off Friday, and then McKinley again on Saturday, and we'll have our year-end rankings of the WHBC Press Box Food Fight Challenge. Some more scores from around the area last night as we watch highlights of games we did. Lake beat Perry 37-14. Nate Baker, Charlie Christopher combined for over 200 yards rushing and 2 scores. Noah Kabaski with a 35-yard touchdown pass in a losing effort. Christian Ivanek, 2 TDs, 1 running, 67 yards. He caught a touchdown pass from Austin Maddox of 17 yards in that loss. We told you Green beat Hoover 41-34. Hoover led throughout this game 14-7, 27-20, 34-33 in the fourth quarter, but couldn't close the deal. They were without their starting quarterback, Carson Derlin, and Mason Ashby. 2 touchdowns on a 66-yard run and a 24-yard touchdown pass, but Hoover comes up short. Alliance beat Minerva 61-0. Marlington a winner over Salem 37-20. Canton South and Poochie Snyder with that banged up pinky still playing. They are now 9-0. They win 34-3. They gain at least a share of the Pac-7 title with that win over Tuslaw. Canton South can win the Pac-7 outright next Friday night at Northwest. That is our Altman Hospital radio game of the week for you. So a lot to play for Canton, not only computer points and rankings, but also a chance to win an outright championship, I think, for the first time in 60 years at Canton South. Southridge beat Louisville 38-8 was the final, 7th straight loss. Unfortunately for Louisville, they led in the game early, 8-7, couldn't hold it. Buckeye Trail beat East Canton 45-14. Fairless, we had Coach Sarbaugh on earlier with us. Carson Colucci, 3 touchdown passes to G.L. Moore, who was also on with us here on the Saturday morning huddle. Colucci, 118 yards passing, 102 yards rushing. Fairless wins 19-9 over Manchester. Malvern, 63-zip over Tuskegee Central. Jared Witherow, 3 touchdown passes in that win. St. Thomas, a loser again to Mogador, 53-6. And Sandy Valley lost to Garaway yesterday, 14-10. And there's that 88 state championship team from Central as they were honored at halftime. So that's it. That's a wrap-up, Billy, of week number 9. Hard to believe. 9 weeks already in the books, and week 10 is going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts all week long. Get up with Pam Cook, Canton's Morning News, Jordan Miller, the Kenny and JT Show. We'll have coaches on, former players on from that rivalry matchup between Massillon and McKinley, but also Canton South and Northwest Friday night, Hoover Jackson Friday night. We've got great games and great coverage all week long for you.
And this is the time to subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already. I know if you're watching this show, there's a good chance you have. We've got highlights. We've got interviews that we've already done. I know I'll be putting up, like I said, that food fight interview. I'll be sitting down with Antonio Hall this week. I'll be sitting down with Nate Moore this week. Very excited to do that. Get you ready for Saturday. We'll have 2 YouTube games uploaded on Friday. And then, of course, we'll be live on Saturday, Kenny. So the content's going to be flowing this week. Pam's going to be at Dunkin' Donuts Friday morning. You can stop by and say hi to her. Java Joel's going to be at Dunkin' Donuts in Massillon, so you can go over and say hi to him. And then come see us. You and I will be at Play Action Plaza in the Village Saturday morning, getting you ready for the game.
Yeah, busy Friday night. We still do games, right? Then we get right back up on about 2 hours sleep. Now, no huddle next week. We got to pass that along to everybody. We will not have the Saturday morning huddle next week because of that Saturday game. I say Massillon McKinley because I don't have a dog in the race, right, Billy? I don't have a horse in the race, dog in the race, however you want to say it. I didn't go to McKinley. I didn't go to Massillon. I don't have any personal ties either way. So the way I've been saying it is whoever won the previous game, I've been using their name first. So Massillon McKinley for the last, unfortunately, 7 years, if you're a McKinley fan, because they've lost 7 straight. So let's see if McKinley can pull off the upset. They'll be the underdogs going in, even though they're D1 and Massillon's D2. But Massillon's the number 1 ranked team in Division 2 in the AP poll and in the computer rankings. McKinley was the number 1 ranked team in the computer poll. We'll see if they still are after that loss to GlenOak. But again, this is a great rivalry. 2 of the winningest high school football programs, top 10, both of them in the top 10 in the entire country. So that's why we blow it up and provide you with everything and anything we can on Saturday after doing a Friday night, where we'll do 3 games on Friday night and then the Massillon McKinley game there. I said it both ways to make everybody happy on Saturday.
And I will say, whatever the competition level or the final score or whatever happens, your team won, your team lost, to be a part of this, to be in on this, to be watching, to be media, to, be working, concessions, whatever it is at this game Saturday, Kenny, I think it really is special. And I say that as somebody who's watched it the past couple of years, but didn't grow up watching it outside of this area. It really is special and shouldn't be taken for granted. So to everybody, enjoy the week, have fun, right? If you can go to Dunkin' Donuts and see Pam cook and donate some food and tailgate with us and this and that this week for McKinley Massillon, go out and do it. Have a good time. Go to the luncheon, whatever there is to kind of do this week. Go to the parade. I think McKinley has a parade downtown, Mayor Burnaby with all that. And I'm sure Massillon has plenty of the same stuff. So make it a great week, right, with this rivalry. And that goes for not just Canton and Massillon, but Jackson, Hoover, Central, St. Thomas, all these rivalries as football kind of comes to an odd close and for a lot of teams, but still a lot of playoffs left. And we do want to mention, like you said, Kenny, the Huddle will not be live next Saturday morning. We'll be on the radio, 1480 WHBC or WHBC.com. However, we'll be back for the playoffs. We will be live the next week breaking down the matchups, who won, who lost, what was accomplished throughout a season if a team ends, or, who's moving on and what the bracket looks like.
Yeah, and good luck to all the teams in their rivalry matchups. We meant the Blue Cup, Tuslaw, and Fairland. That's a huge game for those kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's ginormous for them. Jackson and Hoover, that's a great, rivalry matchup we've done in the past. And that's your TV game, correct? You guys will have that one, Jackson and Hoover, right? So that'll be on demand next Friday night at 10 o'clock. So you'll be able to watch that one on demand Friday night at 10 o'clock. And then Saturday, the game is 2 o'clock kickoff live on the radio, WHBC Mix 94.1, and live on YouTube Saturday. Correct, Billy?
Yes, we'll be live. So right at noon, you can jump on and watch the game. Watch the game in the stands if you want to watch a quick replay, whatever you're doing, or when the game ends, hop right on YouTube and you can watch that one. So very exciting week. Chance here, Kenny, again, to thank a stacked guest list today. We appreciate everybody jumping on with us. We led things off with Coach Scott Garcia. Appreciate him. Congrats to the Eagles again on a huge win there. AJ Sarbaugh and Fairless, thank you for jumping on. And all these guys had players with them too, so we thank those guys. And then Jay Rohr, confirmed Swiftie. He talked with us earlier this morning, so I'm sure his daughter will be pleased when he takes her to the movie or takes her to a concert, whatever. And then Drew Simmons, great to talk about Marlington. It's been a great story. Yeah. A lot of people are kind of chatting about it, talking about it, more attention to their games. And then, of course, Dan DeGeorge, good-looking goatee. I don't think we've seen that before. That was good to see. And then a smile on his face, knowing his team can grab a share of the Federal League title. And, of course, our sponsor on the Saturday Morning Huddle, Dan Brockers Import Automotive. We appreciate them. Look, they know what we're doing here. They love Stark County football, so that's the reason they're connected with us, Kenny.
Let's get out of here, man. It's Buckeyes time. 12 o'clock kickoff. I got to go find the Peacock on TV here to watch Ohio State at Purdue. Hopefully they don't lay an egg like they did back in 2018.
Thanks for joining us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle.